Hello, and welcome to English Path. I'm Mr. Path, and in today's episode, I have something special for you. We're going to learn and practice English through a story. But don't worry, we're not going to read the entire book. This is a simplified version of the story, which means it's shorter, easier, and perfect for learning English. The story you'll hear today is called Treasure Island. My friend and colleague Richard will tell the story slowly and clearly for you. Here's our plan for today. First, you'll listen to the story, slowly and with simple language. Then, I'll teach you some important vocabulary from the story. I'll explain each word in a clear and easy way. And finally, you'll practice shadowing. You can pause, repeat, or even write down what you hear. So, get ready. This is Treasure Island, adapted especially for English learners. A long time ago, in a quiet seaside village, there was a small inn called the Admiral Benbow. A boy named Jim Hawkins lived there with his parents. Life at the inn was calm and simple. Only a few travelers came to stay, and nothing interesting ever happened. Until one day, everything changed. An old sailor arrived at the inn. He was tall, strong, and had a rough appearance. There was a deep scar on his face. He didn't speak much, but he always seemed nervous. Every morning, he walked. The songs frightened the other guests. His name was Billy Bones. Billy asked Jim to watch for a sailor with only one leg. He paid Jim a silver coin every month to keep watch. Jim didn't really understand why Billy was so afraid, but he knew the old sailor was hiding from someone. One day, a blind man arrived at the inn. His name was Pew, and he was even more terrifying than Billy. He gave Billy something known as the Black Spot, a pirate warning that meant danger and death. Billy became very pale and clearly terrified. A few moments later, he fell to the ground and died. His heart simply stopped. After Billy's death, Jim and his mother opened his small chest to collect the money he owed them. Inside, they found coins from many different countries, but also something far more important, a map. It was a treasure map. It showed where the famous pirate Captain Flint had hidden his gold many years before. Jim took the map to Dr. Livesey, a kind and intelligent doctor, and to Squire Trelawney, a wealthy landowner. Together, they made a plan to sail across the sea and search for the treasure. And that's how their great adventure began. Dr. Livesey and Squire Trelawney prepared a ship called the Hispaniola. It was strong, beautiful, and ready for a long journey at sea. They also hired a captain to lead the voyage. His name was Captain Smollett. He was strict, but also fair and honest. Jim was allowed to join the crew as a cabin boy. He was very excited. He had never been on a ship before, and he felt proud to be part of such an adventure. One of the crew members was Long John Silver, who was hired as the ship's cook. He had only one leg and walked with a wooden crutch. Even so, he moved quickly and always had a friendly smile. He was clever, kind, and loved telling funny stories about life at sea. He also had a green parrot on his shoulder that kept repeating, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8." At first, everyone liked Silver. He joked around and helped the crew. But soon, Jim discovered a terrible secret. One day, he was hiding inside a barrel on the ship, and while he was there, he heard Silver talking to some of the other men. Jim discovered that Silver and several members of the crew were actually pirates. They had a secret plan. They would wait until the treasure was found, then take control of the ship and keep all the gold for themselves. Jim felt frightened, but he stayed silent and listened carefully to everything. Later, he told Captain Smollett and the other loyal men. Now they knew the truth. Many of the crew were dangerous, so they needed to be cautious and prepare to defend themselves. After many days at sea, the ship finally reached Treasure Island. The island was green, wild and very quiet. There were trees, hills, rocks, and hidden caves. It looked peaceful, but Jim and his friends knew it could be dangerous. Some of the crew went to the island immediately. Jim went with them, but soon wandered off alone into the forest. While exploring, he met a strange man named Ben Gunn. Ben had once been a pirate, but his crew had abandoned him on the island. He had survived there for 3 years, living on berries and goats. Ben seemed a bit unusual, but he was kind and friendly. He shared an important secret. He had already found Captain Flint's treasure and hidden it somewhere safe. Ben agreed to help Jim and his friends, but only if they promised to take him back home after everything was over. Meanwhile, things on the island became... In the end, he switched sides because he wanted to stay safe. But Jim and the others no longer trusted him. Finally, the pirates followed the map and went to the place where they believed the treasure was hidden. They dug and dug, but found nothing. The treasure had disappeared. They had been fooled. What they didn't know was that Ben Gunn had already discovered the treasure and hidden it inside a cave. Some pirates gave up. Others ran away into the forest and were never seen again. A few were too weak to continue. In the end, the honest men were victorious. They were exhausted, but safe. And now, they finally knew where the real treasure was. They found gold, silver, jewels, and coins from many different parts of the world. There was more treasure than they had ever imagined. There was so much that they had to carry it in several trips back to the ship. At last, they were ready to leave the island. A few pirates were left behind. Some had died, and others had escaped.
Now repeat after me. They live by the sea. The inn was by the sea. Nice work. Now the second word is inn. An inn is a small hotel, usually quiet, traditional, and comfortable. Try this. We stayed in a small inn during our trip. Now repeat. Let's rest at an inn. Good. Now let's look at the word rough. When someone looks rough, it means they appear tough, wild, or not very clean. For example, the sailor looked rough with messy hair and old clothes. Now repeat. He looked rough and scary. That man has a rough voice. Great. The fourth word is scar. A scar is a mark left on the skin after a wound or injury heals. For example, she has a small scar on her knee from when she fell. Now repeat. He has a scar on his face. Well done. Next word, nervous. Nervous means feeling worried or a little afraid that something might go wrong. Example, I feel nervous before speaking in public. Now repeat. Jim looked nervous. She felt nervous before the test. Very good. The sixth expression is watching for someone. This means waiting and paying attention to see if someone is coming. Example, he stood by the window watching for his friends. Now repeat. He was watching for danger. Excellent. Next expression. Now repeat after me. They live by the sea. The inn was by the sea. Nice work. Now, the second word is inn. An inn is a small hotel, usually quiet, traditional, and comfortable. Try this. We stayed in a small inn during our trip. Now repeat. Let's rest at an inn. Good. Now let's look at the word rough. When someone looks rough, It means they appear tough, wild, or not very clean. For example, the sailor looked rough, with messy hair and old clothes. Now repeat. He looked rough and scary. That man has a rough voice. Great. The fourth word is scar. A scar is a mark left on the skin after a wound or injury heals. For example, she has a small scar on her knee from when she fell. Now repeat. He has a scar on his face. Well done. Next word, nervous. Nervous means feeling worried or a little afraid that something might go wrong. Example, I feel nervous before speaking in public. Now repeat.
Keep an eye out for your phone. You lose it all the time. Now repeat. Keep an eye out for trouble. Nice work. Our next word is pale. If someone is pale, their skin becomes very light, usually because of fear or illness. Example, she went pale when she heard the bad news. Now repeat. He looked pale. Great. Next word, collapse. To collapse means to suddenly fall down, often because of cansazo, dor, or mido. Now repeat. He collapsed on the floor. Very good. Next phrase, his heart simply gave out. This means his heart stopped, usually because of shock or fear. Now repeat. He was so scared, his heart simply gave out. Good. Next word, adventure. An adventure is an exciting experience or journey, sometimes involving risk. Example, climbing the mountain was a big adventure. Now repeat. That was a great adventure. Excellent. Next word, voyage. A voyage is a long trip by sea. Example, the voyage lasted many weeks. Now repeat. We went on a long voyage. Perfect. Next word, strict. Someone who is strict follows rules closely and expects others to do the same. Example, our teacher is very strict, but fair. Now we have the phrase, take over the ship. This means to gain control of the ship, often by force, like pirates. Example, the pirates tried to take over the ship. Next phrase, right away. This means immediately, without delay. Example, come here right away. And the last expression, walked off. To walk off means to leave a place, usually quietly or without explanation. Example, he didn't say anything, he just walked off. Now repeat. Jim walked off into the forest. Great job! And that's it. Your vocabulary journey is complete. This is how your English improves, step by step. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. We're here to help you in every episode. I'm Mr. Path, and this is English Path Podcast. See you next time.